Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, you're there for a reason. It's not by accident. What's up, pals, and welcome back to another episode of The Passion Project. I'm your host, Hallee Smith, visual storyteller and creator on TikTok and YouTube. I hope that this podcast can inspire you to get out of your comfort zone and into your passions so that you can live a truly fulfilling life. And the best part about it is that we're on this journey together. So let's go. Hello, Podcast Beans, and happy Wednesday. Of course, it's Wednesday when you're listening. For me, it is a Tuesday, but we're just going to speak in terms of time travel. So last week, I told you guys about how I was going to be doing a public speaking competition. This is essentially going to be, or not a public speaking competition, a speaking panel. And I told you about my story when I did a public speaking competition. We talked about getting out of our comfort zone, building confidence. So if you haven't listened to that one, I would say listen to that one first before we get into this one, because this one's kind of a part two, although both messages can kind of stand alone. So I did the event, and I'm going to tell you guys a little bit about it before we get into today's topic. And last week, like I said, we were talking about confidence and building that confidence by stepping outside of your comfort zone. So first of all, this event I went to, again, it was called Epic Talks Miami. It was an amazing event. It was a great opportunity. I got to meet some really cool people. Melissa, the girl that put it on, super nice, super friendly, and the event honestly made you feel so bougie. There was a red carpet. It was kind of like cocktail party-esque vibes, and it was outside. So I wasn't really sure what to expect. It was a lot more laid back than I thought it was going to be, which was really cool and kind of something different than I was used to when it comes to networking events. I had a lot of fun showing up. To be honest with you guys, I immediately had this overwhelming sense of imposter syndrome. Where did my voice just go? Imposter syndrome. So if you're not familiar with imposter syndrome, it's where you almost feel like you don't belong where you are. And you don't feel like you deserve to be there in a way. And you just kind of feel like, as the title implies, an imposter. I did a lot of, internal work before this in terms of thinking, let's build my confidence, let's get out of my comfort zone. And like I told you guys last week, I hadn't done public speaking since the competition I did in college, which of course I did win an award at. So yeah, I can say award-winning speaker, but I still feel this sense of, oh my gosh, like these people are so incredible, so inspiring. They've accomplished so much. So seeing all these other people on the panel, inside, I'm feeling this terrified imposter syndrome feeling. So how do you overcome that? It was almost a sense of, okay, Hallee, pull it together. We're not going to fall apart here. And tapping into exactly what I talked about last week, stepping outside of your comfort zone, overcoming that fear that's holding you back, that's telling you that you're an imposter or you don't belong here. And so that kind of bridges into today's topic, which is having a sense of discovery and stepping into a new version of you, the next version of you. And we do this by getting past those labels we set for ourselves. So as I'm at this event, I'm looking at the stage. There's 4 seats up there for the 4 speakers. I'm one of them. There's this crowd of all of these accomplished entrepreneurs, other social media creators, and I'm sitting there thinking, okay, I'm about to go up on this stage. And these labels start running through my head rampantly. These ideas about myself that I've had in the past that I need to graduate past. Hallee, you're an introvert. Hallee, you're shy. All these things are coming up in my head, these old versions of myself that, before this public speaking competition, a lot of those things that I used to believe about myself are coming back. And so in the moment, what I kind of had to tell myself is, you're here for a reason. And I want you guys to take this and apply it to your life. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, you're there for a reason. It's not by accident. You got yourself there. You accomplished it. And so pushing past these labels and having this idea of discovery, who can I become? If I just go up and be myself and speak on that stage, who can I become? And how do I prove these labels to be wrong? that I've put on myself. We put labels on ourselves. So to kind of give you guys a better example of how we essentially put ourselves in boxes with labels that we give ourselves, I'm going to start by using the example of the belief that you might be shy. So say, for example, you call yourself a shy person. A lot of times people pair together shy and introversion. They are kind of different, but for the topic today, we're going to assume they're kind of similar. So a lot of times when you're shy, you tell yourself things like, I'm quiet. You think, what do shy people do? Okay, let's dial back. What do shy people do? Shy people are quiet. They might think that no one wants to hear what they have to say. You might classify yourself as invisible or unseen or kind of like a chameleon. You fall into the background of people who might have more, outgoing, dominating personalities in a certain situation. You think maybe you can't answer a question on the spot or you have a fear of saying something wrong. These are a lot of things that shy people may tell themselves, ideas that are tied to being shy. So if you label yourself as a shy person, you're going to conform and act out those things that are tied to that label. Essentially, like I said, putting yourself in a box. For many years, that was a box that I created for myself. And it held me back in a lot of ways, especially being multi-passionate, someone who wants to try all of these different things, whether it's getting on a stage and doing, a musical, or trying to be on the executive board of a club, maybe in high school or college. Some things I used to tell myself, and you might be telling yourself, if you've put yourself in some sort of box, is, okay, I want to try out for the school musical, but no, I'm a shy person, and a shy person wouldn't do that. Another example is, hey, I'm in 3 different clubs on campus or in school. I'm super involved in the clubs, and it would be really cool if I could try out to be on the executive board. But oh man, what does that involve? To be on the executive board, you have to get in front of the class and you have to give a speech, and then you have to campaign and you have to argue, not necessarily argue, but promote yourself, why you should be in that position. And I don't know, a shy person doesn't do that. A shy person keeps quiet. So do you see here how you can really put yourself in a box and tell yourself these stories that keep you stuck and keep you in a certain mindset and keep you acting a certain way? But here is the good news. You get to choose your thoughts. We all get to choose our thoughts, and our thoughts determine our reality. What you live is what you think. If you think the world is out to get you, if you think negatively, and I think we all can fall into this trap at times, then that's what you're going to get back. If you see the world as out to get you, you're going to pick up on every possible situation that seems like the world's out to get you. It's confirmation bias. What you think and what you believe is what you're going to notice and what you're going to get out of the world. So on the reverse side, if you think the world's an amazing place and people are inherently good, that's what you're going to see. Even if there's tragedy and terrible things going on, you're going to notice the good in that. People coming together, community, sacrifices that people make to help others. It's so true if you think about it. And what I want you guys to do today, I'm going to take you through a little journal exercise in a minute because I want you to think about how this kind of applies to your life. And it's something I've done before and have done recently, actually, because this thought was today's topic. Aside from the speaking engagement, this topic was also inspired by a yoga class I did the other day where, and if you're not familiar with yoga, I'm sure some of you guys have done yoga or you like to do yoga, but a lot of times you set an intention for the class and it's meditative. It's very internal, reflecting. So you set an intention for the class. And so this one was the idea of discovery. And that was another piece of what inspired today's episode, because even after the event, something I realized was that some of those labels were still sitting in my head, and they were still, despite the fact that the event went great. I think I did a really good job, and I showed up and I pushed past those labels, and I was able to, answer the questions on the spot, use my voice, get out of my comfort zone. I did it. Like I talked about in the last episode, that feeling of now I did it. Now you can say, okay, what's next? And you don't hold yourself back with the thought that I can't do that because you did do that. So back to the idea of discovery. What can you discover about yourself? Something new. What's something new you can uncover? Where's a place you might be wrong about something and you need to take responsibility? Maybe you got in a fight with someone and you realize, as much as you thought that other person was in the wrong, maybe it was you. Or what did you do to contribute to that situation? Having this mindset of how can I evolve? How can I step into this next version of myself? It's all about letting go of those labels that I was talking about a little bit ago. These labels that society pushes onto us, but ultimately we choose them for ourselves. You can let go of those labels. The reality is that you aren't the person you were 10 years ago. I know there's a saying that you're literally a different person every 7 years because your cells replace themselves. I don't know if that's a myth. I did Google it and it said, I kind of got the idea that maybe it's partially a myth. But using that idea that we're literally a different person physically than we were 10 years ago. If our bodies are evolving, our cells are changing, everything about us is evolving into something new, why should our minds not do the same thing? Why should our minds stay stagnant and stuck in an old version of ourselves? It's so normal. It's normal and it's necessary to let your mind evolve as well. Let yourself let go of old ideas about yourself. Maybe something that once worked doesn't work anymore. Let go. Allow those things to flow to and from you. Let those labels come and go. Sometimes you might need a label that tells you, here's a good example, a label that tells you, I am outgoing. Whether you used to think you're outgoing or not, if you tell yourself you're outgoing and you choose that label for yourself, you're going to start to believe it and you're going to fall into that idea. You're going to attribute, what does an outgoing person do? An outgoing person does this. Oh, I'm an outgoing person, so I can do it. Do you see what I mean here? And you can apply this in any different area of your life. We are multi-dimensional, you guys, multi-passionate people. Multi-dimensional people. Everybody's multi-dimensional. Allow yourself to evolve. Now, the exercise that I mentioned, here's what I want you guys to do. I recommend doing it now, but obviously, maybe you're driving, maybe you're getting ready for school, getting ready for work. Save this episode, do this exercise, take out your journal, number 1. Number 2, write down 5 things that you believe to be true about yourself, whether they're good things or bad things. Write down 5 things that you believe to be true about yourself. And good, bad, they could also be things you like or things you dislike. Then once you have those 5 things, I want you to begin to challenge those beliefs. Whether it's something you want to hang on to or not, challenge those beliefs. Even if it's one of the things that you like about yourself, what if you let go of that label? What would it look like to take it away? What doors would it open up for you to let go of one of those negative labels? Or what doors might it close if you let go of one of the labels that's working for you? So think about it. Journal it out. Write everything that comes to your mind and then read it back over. Think about it. It's a really interesting thing to do. And send me an email. I want to hear what you guys do in this exercise. I think it would be really cool to talk about in a later episode to kind of discuss some of the audience feedback, some of the things you guys came up with. Like I always say, we're on this journey together. So again, send in your labels that you're letting go of, the way you're going to evolve into the next version of yourself to halleespassionproject@gmail.com. That's HALLEE. halleespassionproject@gmail.com. Linked in the show notes. And if you have been listening to this podcast and you really are enjoying it, or if this is your first time and this episode really spoke to you, give us a rating and review. It'll really help boost the podcast and help get more podcast fiends on this journey with us this journey of self-discovery, of going after our passions and getting out of our comfort zone to do it. So thank you guys for being here. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I'll talk to you next week. Peace out, podcast beans.